You didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE.
Give me a hell yeah!
Now, let's meet the host. Kyle Gagliardi.
The face that runs the place.
Jim Tucker.
It's a kid!
And Erica Marini.
I'm the boss. I'm the blueprint. I'm the standard.
Well, I think we've had enough talk. It's time for the main event.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I'm your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Chucky!
What's going on, Kyle? We got the club going up on a Tuesday.
Yeah, very happy come Tuesday to all of our listeners out there. Did you start NXT at all, or are you just saving that for later?
Yeah, that'll be my my nighttime. I think that one actually comes on close. Like I have to wait till 7, so it comes on right on time out here. With Raw, it comes on an hour after it's done for you guys. So it starts at 8 p.m. West Coast time here. Dumb.
Damn, that's kind of a pain in the ass, though, right? Like, because you're probably checking Twitter and stuff, and you don't want to see spoilers and all that.
I bootleg it all the time. You know.
Hey, you got to make things happen. You got to make it work.
MVM in the house. Wow.
I don't know if Tuck's cutting in and out. Maybe Tuck, you're cutting in and out for me a little bit over there. I don't know if it's a you thing or a me
Wi-Fi
thing. So Dirk,
it did drizzle like 7 seconds earlier out here, so it could be weather. I don't know.
You probably don't get a lot of rain out there, right?
0, like none. Yeah.
Had
0 high school games canceled during the baseball season this year. 0.
Compared to probably a handful that you had over here in Indiana.
12 a year. You end up with this 1 week in April where you play 7 games in 6 days. It is not great. Yeah.
Oh, that's not ideal. But hey, I'm still feeling it coming off of this weekend. There was a lot of wrestling to be had in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Me and Ian made the trip up there. It's about a 2-hour drive because I don't take the toll road, but we got in there around Friday night. We got to see referee Jeremy Tillema on Friday as he was working that GCW and Black Label Pro combination show. Did you get to see any of GCW this weekend or none of it?
I stuck to the big 3. I did watch Worlds Collide, so.
Yeah, me and Ian and Jeremy then got 5 wrestling shows under our belt, 3 in person. So it was quite the weekend for sure. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now, specifically in AEW. That's the main reason why we wanted to double up on our podcast this week, because if we probably tried to talk about every single show, Tuck, it might have been a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, that would be that'd be a long night for everybody. I do think it's a little bit smarter to break it up. So yeah.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Vogus, your OTM AEW champion, is here. He dethroned me for that title. Ryan Vogus had quite a Sunday. Quite a Sunday.
Had a great night.
Yeah, we decided to go to a local bar over there, and he just said, we were like, Ian, let's go to the slot machines. You just turned 21. Give it a go. Vogus sits down. He wins $400.
Love it. Well, and your first text said 40, and I was like, cool. Because you had lost 40, so that's why it was. I lost 40, and then you were like, Vogus won 40, and you were like, sorry, I meant 400. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, he hit himself quite the Sunday for sure. You're still cutting in and out for me. I if anybody in the comments can let me know if maybe it's just on my end. Maybe I just got
Well,
the
I can
fucked
try
up
and
internet
bounce out
tonight.
too. When I start talking, it's like 7 seconds until you reply.
Okay, so that might be an issue going on there. I got to plug our website anyways, Tuck. So if you want to give it a go and pop back in, we'll do it that way. So that's what we're going to do here. This is what happens when you run a podcast on a Tuesday, I guess. But Tucky will be back momentarily. But I was going to bring up the fact that I was wearing my Bryan Danielson appreciation shirt when I was there for All Out Weekend. And somebody at the hotel complimented me on that T-shirt. And you can get that T-shirt as well on the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.com. No more promo code. The promo code ended yesterday, but we got some great merchandise out there. Fall is coming, so get yourself a hoodie, get yourself some joggers, a long sleeve T-shirt. Everything is cost friendly, and you'll be supporting us by going to the website on the markwrestlingpodcast.com as you see it right there. We got the Voguses in the comments. They're saying that Tuck's okay, so maybe it is my issue. Okay, but Tuck will be back here in a second because there's a lot of things happening in AEW right now. Ever since All Out ended, that was all that was people were talking about was that media scrum. As there's my good friend Jim Tucker popping back on the stream. They said you were good, so maybe it's just a me thing. Or you sound better now. So there we go.
Cool.
So you want to just get right into it then?
Yeah, and just that comment. It's funny. We came off a great pay-per-view, and that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
very interesting. And I think WWE can't hate it, right? It's weird. I don't know.
Well, in a weird way, AEW is not going to be happy this is happening, but the saying any publicity is good publicity. This maybe could be spun in a good direction. I don't know. Where's your head at? Oh, I mean, we'll dive into the details, but overall, where are you at with this whole situation?
I don't know. Locker room culture is everything. I think you need. It does feel different from what he was talking about in the scrum and kind of what it was like maybe when Cody was there a while ago. I don't know. I saw a clip on Twitter about his like speech a year ago, and he was talking about all the young talent in the back and how excited he was to work with them.
I retweeted that.
Yeah, and that's probably where I saw it. Not too kind at the media scrum. So
no, it's like two opposite ends of the spectrum right there. You got two different CM Punks in 2 different years. But obviously, this isn't breaking news by any means. But we might as well just get into some of the details happening here with CM Punk and other AEW talent. And it started a few weeks ago, talk with the Hangman Page stuff and how he dragged him on TV. And it kind of has just escalated from there. And it was very weird to me that, like I kind of said earlier, he was CM Punk, that is, was extremely frustrated during this entire media scrum after successfully winning a world title in his hometown. And the first thing he goes to is the Colt Cabana stuff when he wasn't really directly questioned about it, was he?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that question was like, tell me about all the Colt Cabana things, please. And he kept coming back to it too. Like, in spots where it was not appropriate or like attached to a question. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know all the details. I don't think anybody really truly knows what's going on between him and Colt Cabana, but obviously they're not friends, and obviously it's bothering CM Punk that websites and everybody is talking about this stuff. So maybe this was his only way to clear the air, because where else is CM Punk going to be able to talk about this? He ain't going to go on our podcast.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff coming from Fightful is a lot of from the Punk side of things too. So, there's reports out there that it is becoming a legal thing. That's why AEW hasn't said anything. But Ace Steel got into it. Went Mike Tyson on him. It sounds like.
Do you have that Fightful report pulled up, or you maybe can bullet point a few things that have been rumored to have happened backstage after the scrum?
Yeah, let me pull it up. So the last one came about 2 hours ago, and basically after the scrum, the Young Bucks approached Punk's locker room, and Punk wasn't answering the door after having such a long match, and the Bucks were said to have pounded on the door with claims from some that they like kicked the door down. Ace Steel's wife was in the room at the time, and he said that is where it stemmed. But it does sound like he threw a chair, like with intent, obviously not. Yeah. And he bit someone from his side of things. And Kenny Omega comes out and says, I was bit. Like, I got bit. So Ace Steel bit Kenny Omega. And it sounds like Omega, of the three, Omega wasn't as upset as the Young Bucks were from what Punk said. But he ended up getting heated. And then the most recent thing was that Punk may have further injured his tricep.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He made a dive. He made a dive during the match that led to an injury. He was icing it during the scrum, apparently, under the towel. And sounds like it could have been further aggravated during the fight as well. And it was minutes long. Like, it was pretty physical. So
okay. I didn't know that, but obviously, as people have probably heard by now, CM Punk took shots in that scrum against the EVPs. He didn't directly name them, but I mean, you obviously know it's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, which led to this physical altercation. And the funny thing about it too, when CM Punk's just going off on these rants in this scrum, Tony Khan's facial expressions are like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? His hands are tied right there because that's your top guy, probably. You're paying him the most money. Do you just tell him to shut up?
He just put the strap on him, right? Like, you got to stand there. There's a little stand by your man, but so, like describing some of his facial expressions. One was like, he looked like he had a knot in his stomach. He was like, I just get a kick. I just get a kick out of all that stuff. And then he took the blame for some of it. So that was interesting as well.
In a way, I think it is a little bit Tony Khan's fault since he is the boss. And I don't think people actually look to him as the boss. Like, people look at Vince McMahon. When they did look at Vince McMahon, they were like, that's the end all be all. I got to respect him. But I don't think the entire locker room respects Tony Khan. If anything, they probably just treat him like he's this big mark, which he kind of is.
Yeah, I get that vibe as well. It felt like the Bucks stopped with Vince, right? Like, what Vince says goes, and take it or leave it. And they weren't afraid of the take it or leave it stuff. So I thought, yeah, I was reading Vogus's comment if you want to pull it up.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
He was listening to it live on the way home and was trying not to blow up your phones, but I knew it was going to be huge news. And that's what Vogus said. He listened to it live. I went back, hours after Vogus even texted us the next morning, and it was still posted. It probably still is. So I do say credit to them for leaving it up, actually. I think that means something. And I was entertained with some of the other press conferences there as well. I thought Swerve and Keith Lee was great. Did you watch that part?
Yeah, Swerve seemed legitimately pissed off just the way the crowd reacted. And didn't somebody ask a question like, would you call an audible in that situation or something like that?
It was back-to-back questions. Did you think about an audible? And then the other guy was like, why did you not call an audible? Like,
ooh, with them up there,
but
too,
hey,
right?
Take some balls from that reporter to say that right in front of him.
I think it's a fair question for that match, just based on the reaction they got, but we will talk about the matches here in a little bit. We're not just going to talk about drama because, this is a wrestling podcast, but this is happening outside the ring and taking all the headlines. But overall, is there someone you really want to point the finger at and be like, this is your fault, you shouldn't be doing this? Or is this just a collective thing of, you all probably shouldn't be doing this stuff. You are professionals. You're under contract. Do it. It's all fucked up.
It's just a mess, dude. I there's a little bit of respect for Punk for kind of airing it out and letting it rip. And then there's the other side of that's what you want your champion to do. That's how your champion behaves. And then, the EVPs might be a little power hungry, right? They feel like they started the company, and it's just, I don't think that was the news you wanted coming out of AEW.
Yeah, and then Vogus said that Tony also said that Thunder Rosa says she's hurt, and that's in quotations, giving credit to the rumors she's not. Yeah, so I mean, they're definitely blurring the line there in AEW. This definitely isn't a work, though, from what the reports are saying, though, right? Like, everybody just assumes this is real shit.
No, yeah, Dave Meltzer's like 100% not a work. Now, that doesn't mean it can't turn into some on-screen gold, but it really feels like from a number of different sources that CM Punk and Ace Steel are going to be let go, or they're going to make huge amends. Like CM Punk is the one that has to apologize. And
at some point, you just got to get them all into, and this probably won't work, but you got to try to get them all into the same room, work this out, and then maybe the best case scenario is, like you said, use this as storyline, make a great program out of it, and everybody wins. But I just don't see it being resolved anytime soon.
Whew, I don't know that you're going to get many answers tomorrow night on Dynamite from a lot of different things. I mean, even Tony saying like Swerve in Our Glory versus Acclaimed at Grand Slam would be awesome. And they're like, really? Like they get a title shot already? We just beat their ass. But that was a great match. I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. And one last thing, we'll move on to the actual card of All Out. Vogus was talking about how the WWE comment at the end, he was dying at Khan's meltdown because
I forgot what was his quote at the end. I forgot.
I don't know the direct quote, but I know he was triggered about WWE running Clash on his weekend or something like that, and
doing ridiculously well,
and like, doing it in a completely different country.
Yeah.
It's just all a mess. And I think we're all kind of just waiting to see what happens next, whether it's like a suspension or somebody gets fired, or if they do use it on a storyline on Dynamite tomorrow. But I guess we'll find out, Tuck.
You come out of All Out with a lot more questions, I think, than answers, which is interesting, like an interesting way to come out of a pay-per-view.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, here's what I think. I don't think Tony realizes that, like, if you're gonna watch AEW, you're gonna watch AEW, and if you're gonna watch WWE, you're gonna watch that. And for us, like, get people like you and I, like, that's a hell of a weekend. Be more pissed about Worlds Collide, maybe. Like, and you wanted a slice of the Sunday too. Like, the fuck, come on. Like, I get it, but like a morning, an early boy on Saturday, the nightcap on Sunday, different vibes, different shows. It was awesome.
And if you are a fan of the indies, there were indie promotions running shows all weekend too that people probably tuned into or attended live, like myself. So it's like we say all the time, just try to enjoy all kinds of wrestling, because that's, it's more enjoyable that way.
Yes.
Vogus was saying Jericho's presser was actually really good insight. Yeah, it seemed like Jericho handled things the most professionally in that media scrum. Obviously, he was the one, I think, that whispered to Tony Khan that there was commotion going on, right?
The little video where I showed them awkwardly shaking hands and leaving, where I said that was me leaving your house after every episode of the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. Yeah, he did whisper to me, to the note of like shit's going down or some shit went down. And then, yeah, it got awkward and he left. So,
What are the odds you see CM Punk even on Dynamite tomorrow? Do you think they're just going to keep him off TV, or do you think he's the guy you lead off the show with?
Are you live mic again in the middle of the ring?
That's dangerous, right?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I would say no. I feel no if I'm Tony Khan, but I think there's a little bit about this that Tony Khan kind of likes too, like the realism of it, the edginess of it.
Well, people are going to tune in tomorrow. Like, it's going to pop a rating. They want to see what happens next, because there's real shit going on behind the scenes, and how is that going to play out?
All they have to do, they tweet out tomorrow morning or tonight and say, "Hey, CM Punk will lead off the show addressing the crowd,"
and that'll
do
it.
That's all you need to say.
And you might pop 1.2 million.
He'll apologize, or he's gonna bury somebody, or he's gonna quit, or something interesting is going to happen, because I think any outcome is kind of appealing. Like, he actually will apologize. Wow, that's crazy. Or he is crazy.
I don't think it'll happen, but could you imagine he goes out there and he just gets stripped of his title? That would be wild.
Yeah, that would be
I don't
crazy.
think it'll happen, but
or Omega is his next challenger for the title. I don't know.
we know that probably can't happen from what we saw at the end of All Out, but maybe down the line, that's something they could definitely.
Yeah, you could pivot. I know what it is now, but
pivot,
like,
right?
Yeah, Tony Khan needs to fight CM Punk.
Now that's how you get people to tune into Dynamite. That's what the people want to say. Hey, Vince McMahon fought Pat McAfee at WrestleMania, so why can't Tony Khan fight Punk on Dynamite? Vogus said, Tuck, would you bite someone in a fight for me?
I'm slightly offended that he actually had to ask that question. You know I would. I would gnaw off a limb, a whole of it.
Some would say you'd get a taste.
Oh yeah. For the ones I love, and it's not that many, surprisingly. My crew is a lot smaller now that I live in Nevada.
Hey, we're still here. We got the OTM crew. You got the listeners.
You're a biteable friend. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're a biteable friend. Vogus, I would bite for him. Ian, probably not. Super frozen? One of us is super frozen.
Am I back?
I hear you now. That was weird.
Yeah. I think I disconnected from the internet for a second there, but we're back. That's all that matters. See, this is what happens when I was plugged in, but when I make the slightest movement over here, it gets interesting.
Yep.
Gags is, what's the final word? I'm waiting for it, Vogus. Gags is complete.
No, I said, are we frozen? Like, are we messed up? Like, is this weird? And I was like asking hypothetical questions, like very lifelike questions. Like, is this
fair
real?
enough? Fair enough. All right, let's get into All Out then. No chance we're actually going to talk about all 15 matches, but we can discuss most of what happened at All Out. So let's quickly recap the pre-show. The bullet points I have, Tuck, and you can expand on any one of these points. On the pre-show is Ruby Soho broke her nose. That legit happened.
And that's a blessing. That's the only broken part about her, honestly.
That bump that she took off of Sammy was not great.
Just a ragdoll, dude. Yeah.
And it was just a random match that came out of nowhere that I really wasn't understanding. Okay, it happened. Right, but hey, it's the buy-in. So, and then Eddie and Ishii slapped the shit out of one another. I don't think I need to see another match between those two because for me personally, I don't give a crap for just slapping people all the time.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. But the Gunther and Sheamus match, though, there was a little bit of that.
That at least had other things going on. I felt like Eddie and Ishii were kind of just slap. But most of the crowd loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And then the other two things, Hook and Pac retain their respective titles. Kip Sabian has that new gimmick, and he still loses. It's kind of a tough look, right?
Weird, yeah. And I was like, I'm more into this thing that he's doing now, like marginally, like a little bit.
Interested.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, and then he loses, and you're like, huh. Okay, all right, cool.
And maybe we'll see more in the next coming couple weeks. I think, but
well, and the problem is they that was a title match. Like,
yeah,
his first. Don't put him in that situation. You know, let him have a few more matches and not lose in a title match, his first one. So
yeah, interesting decision to put him in a title match for the first one, definitely. Bogus said Hook and Action Bronson was dope. Yeah, that was a cool interaction because obviously most people know that Action Bronson is the one that raps Hook's walk-up song. Ian did not know that. When Action Bronson got into the ring, he's like, who's that guy? I was like, he raps Hook's theme song. It's kind of a thing.
The part of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Like
great.
I said,
he's got a great food show. He's got a great food show.
He does. Yeah, I've seen
solid.
It. Is it still going? I think I only watched a couple years ago.
No, it's 21.
Still
I think there was another season last year or something. Yeah, I watched many shows. Those dudes could eat, but he's trimming down.
Yeah, he is. Maybe he's going to get into a ring. There's your celebrity match for AEW right there. Hook teams up with Action Bronson.
That's a little bit of the like an AEW kind of vibe too, isn't it? Like
they did Shaq and Cody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, like a little intriguing.
Revoga said Action Bronson greater than Bryan Danielson's entrance guy. Yeah.
Thought it was it was like a poor man's Machine Gun Kelly kind of.
Somebody said great value MGK. That's what they call him.
That's not great.
Very spot on. So let's get to the actual match card
and
here.
It was the dude singing that song. I didn't know that was a dude.
I knew that because I downloaded it on Spotify right away and I saw his name. But yeah, if you don't know what he looks like, you'd probably assume it's a girl or it'd be questionable. Yeah. So let's start with the ladder match here as that kicked off All Out. You had Rey Fenix and Yuta start this one, followed by Rush and Andrade. And I thought it was a little weird, though, for the beginning of that match, because there was definitely a lot of opportunities that they could have realistically climbed the ladder and won, but they were just setting up shop, for destruction. And obviously it's pro wrestling, so take the realism out of it. But that's the first thing I thought when I saw this match kick off.
Their format's interesting. Like, mix it up one year and have one of the first two people win it. Just Moxley to punk him and then have him run up the ladder before the other guys come out. Then he's got a whole line of challengers that never even got in the ring. So you could have that guy go on a run too.
Yeah. And I think Ian was a little confused too. And I don't think they did a good enough job kind of describing how these matches go. And it's kind of weird too, because we've all seen this style of match and we still don't know really how it works, or at least that's how it was for us.
Yeah. You just, it's kind of like, let's just wait for everybody to get out here, however they get out here and however it goes this time.
We literally were asking each other, can't they just climb the ring? Like, couldn't Yuta just go win it from the beginning?
Yeah, well, and then if you have to wait until all 8 entrants are there, like, why? Just start all 8 there,
Yeah, and like Voga said, Andrade and Cowman stood in the ring together for 2 minutes. He's talking about Rush, for those who don't know who Cowman is. And no, that's 100% right. They were just setting up all those things, which it was cool, though. Andrade did that spot that he did to Finn Balor a couple of years ago, I think, in the Money in the Bank match. I don't know if that was like a callback or anything. Did you notice that or realize that?
Nope.
Yeah, that was something I picked out. But I mean, you had fun spots in this one, like most ladder matches. I don't think this was like the best ladder match that they've ever done.
It was ambitious. They had some spots that just looked clunky at times, but that's the risk you take, I guess. But like Cesaro struggled with that ladder spot the one time.
That was awkward.
Just kind of clunky, It was still a great match, but not the best. Not the best.
Well, and that stuff happens. Look at the women's Money in the Bank match. I think from this year, we thought it felt a little clunky, or maybe that one was just bad because this one wasn't bad by any means. I want to preface that.
There were two in that women's Money in the Bank match that just had a really bad night, and that kind of soured the taste,
Yeah, nobody had a bad night in this match. I think they just got unlucky with the props they were using at times. But
yeah,
it was fun. It got very interesting because when we got to the Joker part, you had that, awkward moment where these random ass people are coming out in black suits, and then you see it's Stokely and he grabs the chip. Were you thinking that maybe one of those guys that were out there were the Joker, or did you expect him to kind of introduce someone?
Yeah, I saw all of them come out, so that's where my focus went to, was like, who, and then it was Stokely, and I'm like, who is it attached to Stokely that like is credible to like get a title shot, a major title shot? That's what was going through my head. Yeah.
Morrissey was a part of that group. Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty. Am I missing anybody else that was out there, or was that? I think that might have been all of them.
Maybe, yeah.
But I mean, we've seen for the past couple live shows that AEW done Stokely handing out his business cards. So that's kind of how this all came together. But then, of course, the Joker comes out, wins the ladder match in a weird, awkward finish. But immediately, I think collectively, everybody was assuming this was MJF. Was that your first initial thought?
Yeah, because of everybody else on Twitter, I didn't even give myself a thought. I was like, that's interesting. I wonder who that'll be. Like, I was hoping it was somebody cool, and that's pretty cool.
It was somebody pretty cool. We will get to later. And it was the Ass Boys that were also there. Right, Colton and Austin Gunn. Yeah, those are the two that I forgot. So, yeah, I mean, interesting way to start it off. We've never seen anything like that in AEW. That was kind of WWE-esque because you had like James Ellsworth kind of go get the briefcase one time for Carmella. a couple years ago. That's the kind of vibe I got from this, but it makes sense once you find out what happens at the end of the show. But overall, I thought it was a good way to start, right?
Yeah, fun, entertaining. Yeah. Okay, we're off to a hot start. You're not super fatigued yet, but you are in the back of your mind, like kind of counting how many are left. And I think at this point it was like 10. So yeah.
And I think some of us were still questioning who that Joker could be. Like we weren't for sure on MJF,
but there was nothing going into it, because so that kind of left the doubt too.
Yeah, Vogus said that the Joker mask was 100 out of 10 spooky. He loved it. That was the first thing he noticed.
Yeah, that was spooky, and it drew a lot of comparisons to the guy from like that magic show on Fox like 20 years ago. He would he would do the trick, and then he would show you how the trick was done. He was like the masked magician. It was funny, but you have to know that show for it to make sense. I'm big fan of that mask though.
I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I told the Vogus, I was like, there's your Spooky Fest outfit. You can just be the Joker. Nobody will know who the fuck you are because you're wearing all black and a mask, but it's still a cool looking mask. So there's an idea for Spooky Fest West. But let's move on to this trios tag team title match. I thought this one was awesome, Tuck. And the surprise for me was I think that Silver and Reynolds actually got a lot of moments in this match to shine. And there were a couple points in the match where they actually got chants from the Chicago crowd.
Oh yeah. Well, that Chicago crowd was interesting. They were favorable. Like they could sway, and they were cheering it. You know, again, they have a big following, the Dark Order. They have like a niche following, but people were taking them seriously. And after that match, I think you should.
Yeah, what were your overall thoughts from this? Obviously, the Elite getting the win is what probably most expected, but I thought it was a very entertaining match.
Yeah, well, I think it, for me, just like Vogus says, if you want to pull it up, that those near falls for Silver at the end really had you believe, and they went to it once, and you're like, okay, well then it's over. He had a shot, and they did it again. I just thought it was good. I think these trios titles are going to be important. It was a great tournament, like a TV tournament to get to that match. It was outstanding.
I think that is one thing that AEW is probably better at than the WWE's tournaments. Some of the WWE tournaments are very weird, and they don't give them enough time. I mean, you could say that the AEW women's tournament that they had a couple months ago wasn't that good because they were short matches, which is true. But usually when AEW does stuff like this, it is good. And it culminated here with this match, and you had that backstory too with Hangman and the Elite, because they have that relationship that it seems like they're trying to mend, and that was being told throughout the entirety of this match, which was kind of just like that chef's kiss that we needed, and I think it took it to the next level.
Yeah, I agree, and that's interesting too, because Hangman was drawing pot shots from CM Punk too. So in storyline, they're trying to mend their fence, but I think the easiest way for them to get back together is to try to beat Punk's ass, I guess. That is something that's a common denominator they have now.
Well, going back to your point that you think the trios title is going to be good in AEW, I mean, they're full of factions there. Like they can have multiple teams get opportunity. You have the Best Friends, and you even have the lesser teams like the Factories, the Trust Busters. There's other people you can try to build up to get to that point. I don't think they're going to beat the Elite, but you know, you got options. I don't know about House of Black, but
now you have the trios division, so you're getting 6 guys on TV for a match. You know, you're fitting 6 guys on the screen in 8 minutes than you would in 2 in a singles match. So it's a good way to get that healthy, you know, full roster some screen time.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably I'd say my second favorite match of the night. I don't know about you.
Yeah, definitely one of the top 3.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to talk about the rest of the AEW All Out card. We want to go to a quick break here, and we'll be back in about 20 seconds, and we'll see you then.
What's everybody saying about the On The Mark podcast?
It's just insane, and I love it.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
Unlike any other.
It's a great show.
We'll be right back after a brief intermission.
like the SmackDown fist if you really think about it.
Yeah.
I was browsing TikTok while a commercial during NXT tonight, and they have a guy that runs their social media, and he was in the warehouse, and he's like, I'm going to find 3 random things, and one of them, they still have the SmackDown fist back there, which I would love for them to bring back. You got to pop off.
How is there not like a WWE museum? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know they can travel with it, but like you could make that a destination down at the Performance Center in Orlando. Like that's kind of a little bit of a hub, or a really tour Vegas, like the WWE museum
Connecticut,
in Las
where
Vegas.
the headquarters is.
Yeah, I would go. That'd be a weekend. I would go just to see all the cool stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'd have all their statues and everything, past championships and all that. I'd pay good money for that for sure. So let's get back into AEW though. As you saw me pop up, Jade Cargill retains her TBS championship, even though Tuck, this wasn't a long match by any means. I actually thought it was really good. I think Athena sold very well. We really haven't got the chance to see Jade go longer than maybe 10 minutes, but she improves to 37-0. What were your overall thoughts here on her retain?
I was expecting a little bit more because I think Athena's a good worker, like a good wrestler to work with. So I thought she was going to get more of a match out of her, but not surprised that she won. And they're doing a good job of protecting her. I mean, she is the women's division right now in my eyes. I know Tony Storm just won. That's new. We'll talk about that, but it's Jade right now.
Oh yeah, me, Bogus, and Ian had that conversation where like Jade is the #1 female talent in that company. She has it all. I don't think it's close. Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah, it's not that close.
There's Jade, there's Britt, Thunder, and Tony maybe in the middle, and then there's like a tier 3, and then there's
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot down there. So, and missed a big Jade Cargill fan. She's got a shirt, so
how can you not? Like, Jade is fucking awesome. I just one of these times I want to see a surprise win from somebody else so she can go in a different direction towards the main title. But
you can have her get screwed out of it too. Like, you don't even have to have her lose clean. Like, you can kind of screw her out of the loss so she still looks strong too.
Yeah, I just don't know who the hell is going to take that belt from her. I don't know. We keep saying it episode after episode. I thought it could be Athena or maybe a Tony Storm, but now even with the available free agents, there's not a big enough name to take it from her.
I think Jamie Hayter's the next one, like a next good candidate in line with how well she was received in Chicago. I still think Jade wins. I don't know, even in that one.
Yeah, I do too. But maybe Jamie will go towards the world title because we do know we have a new women's champion in Tony Storm, and they had a little bit of back and forth in that match. But let's move on here. I don't have much from the actual match itself, Tuck, but the FTR and Wardlow win. My biggest takeaway was I thought that was a great feel-good moment with Dax Harwood's daughter. After the match, she got to go in there and pin Sanjay Dutt. I mean, the match really didn't have any meaning or significance to it, but at least you had that little, moment there.
Yeah, there was a little ornament at the end there, but that didn't have to be on the card. It was.
But hey, also Samoa Joe returned. A lot of people are forgetting about that.
That is true, and somehow he ended up bleeding. So
did he really? I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah, he had blood on his forehead. I don't know.
Did Leo like that too?
I think Mom's home, so I think she just got home. Yeah, they're excited, and Milo's hanging out over here too. So,
you got the whole crew.
We're gonna get that for a minute or two. I'll put myself on mute while you.
Oh no, you're fine. It happens, dogs. We're big dog guys over here. So let's go to Powerhouse Hobb, who virtually squashed Ricky Starks, in my opinion, which was shocking to most in the stands. A lot of the fan favorites in this entire show, Tuck, seem to lose, which usually isn't the AEW way of going about booking.
No, this was like the biggest head scratcher for me because like Starks got nothing in. I picked him to win.
Same.
I think a lot of people probably did here on our predictions, it was more Starks than Hobbs. That was one of our picks that kind of switched it. So I think Vogus went with a meaty man bump and meat, unless that was one of his 3 losses. But
yeah, I'm not sure if that was one of his losses or not, but it's a little weird to me because Starks recently just turned babyface, obviously, and Hobbs has been a heel. I know you maybe are trying to build up another top heel, but wouldn't you think the guy that you just turned and you're trying to get a good positive reaction from should probably get the win there?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And I just think Ricky Starks is gold. I have this thing. So I thought, oh, this is going to be a great win. And he's on his way up. And nope.
Hey, you got to meet Ricky Starks too a couple weekends ago.
Great guy. Very soft hands.
Yeah, Ryan Vogus, 12 out of 15. No, you didn't pick 15 matches. We left off the pre-show. So
yeah,
it was actually 7-3. Still?
Or 8-3, sorry.
8-3 is a very good record, and that's why he's the AEW champion. So let's get into what was unanimously, in my opinion, or I should say everyone's opinion, the best match on the card, which was the tag team championship match between the Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory. What an atmosphere it was in the Now Arena. I've been to many wrestling shows, but this was one of the louder, the more backings I've seen for a team / superstar in my history of going to live events. How did that come off on the screen? Was it just as energetic there when they were broadcasting it?
The commentary was confused. Like those guys were like they were really shaping, like, did not expect this. The Acclaimed are doing a great job and they've won the fans over. But they mentioned a lot, like it was all Acclaimed, the scissor me daddy thing that was supposed to sound like Swerve in Our Glory. I was dying. And the announcers were, very kind of intrigued by it and really worked hard to use the Acclaimed, like they're getting so much reaction because they know that Swerve in Our Glory is such a good team, kind of thing.
Right. I guess the Acclaimed,
I didn't see it coming. I didn't see that
super over
coming,
in
dude.
Chicago, which, I mean, he's been over with most of us. I may have scissored Vogus and Ian at least 5 times during that match, which was, quite the
Did you get any merch at All Out?
Not only was the crowd rooting for the Acclaim, because sometimes people will just hop on side to side and say, let's go Swerve, let's go Acclaim, but they were booing the hell out of Swerve and Keith Lee during this match.
Oh, yeah. They were getting the smoke, the proverbial smoke. It was very interesting.
And they kind of, I think, adjusted too on the fly because it seemed like they used heelish tactics in this match, kind of targeting Bowens' injury that he had on his knee after jumping off the top rope. But speaking of Bowens, Doug, I thought he really showed out in this match, and I think he was booked very strong. But I think a lot of people wanted to see them get the win. They do not. But overall, one of the better matches of the year, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of, stunned with it. It was a great match. I didn't expect it. I thought the Acclaimed might have got kind of worked a little bit, but I asked while you were frozen if you guys got any merch, so that's what that's in reference to. So,
okay.
No merch. That's surprising. Yeah, I was like, did you guys get any merch? And it came back, and you were in the middle of the tag team analysis, and I was like, sweet.
My bad. I don't know what's happening over here. I guess this is a little fragile. This is what happens when we do a 2-man show now. They know we're without Erica.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fantastic match. Going back to kind of what they were talking about in the scrum, would you have actually called an audible in this situation if you had the pencil?
Nope.
Really?
Because you have a rematch right on your hands. If the Acclaimed win, like, does Swerve in Our Glory get a legit rematch? Like, now that the Acclaimed lost, it's like they put up such a fight. They can't go right to the back of the bus, but you have them win a match to earn it in 2 weeks. Like, they stay hot.
When I was there, I was telling Ian and Vogus that I probably would have mid-match just based on the crowd reaction they were getting, but I do get your side of it too. If look at this though, Ian, who never tunes into live shows,
wow,
saying, hi, hello. That's that's a big shock to see him on a Tuesday, come Tuesday.
That was supposed to be clapping. So.
You've done that a couple times recently. You go for the clap and we get the laugh.
Yeah, so
they both play.
You get it.
Vogus said the Acclaim won't get that reaction in New York, probably. Maybe they will, based on just the reaction Chicago gave them.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Now I'm interested.
I mean, now we know we're gonna get Scissor Me Daddy chance, right?
And those micro brawlers that they got for pre-sale are probably selling like hotcakes. So
I think Vogus is going to be soon getting some Acclaim merch. I think he's got some getting delivered to him any day now. So, and like Ian said, it is come Tuesday, so he's got to make an appearance. It only makes sense. We appreciate you. It was a pleasure spending the weekend with Ian and Hoffman Estates. We had a lot of adult beverages. Now it's weird to say he can legally do that, Tuck. How does it feel? A guy that you coached can legally drink now.
Wow, way to make me feel old. Thank you for that. It's only been a couple years though. I took him, I took it over when he was in high school as a junior. So I had a couple of years with him, but I hope he enjoyed. I may or may not have contributed to the
you did
pot.
Thank you. Thank you, Tuck, for doing that.
You did. Wow.
And thank you, Erica Marini, who also contributed to our drinking for GCW. We have the best support crew here with the OTM podcast.
We got to keep the guy. We got to keep him hydrated. That's
exactly. He was definitely very hydrated a Saturday and Sunday night. Friday was my night where I went all out. Ian definitely got into it Saturday and Sunday.
I respect it.
Vogus said, very glad that everyone finally loves the Acclaim that they do. Ian said it was great having my first drink ever. Look at that.
Yeah, I bet. Like just the first one you've ever had is like unbelievable. And I'm glad that he made it till 21 to have that first one ever.
That's respect right there. Yep. Takes a real man to admit.
Persistence.
Yeah, like Vogus said, Ian was slammed Sunday.
Love it.
I had to walk to a gas station with him hammered 2 nights in a row. It was fun as hell.
Love it.
Good weekend. So let's talk about this. We briefly kind of mentioned it. Toni Storm winning the interim AEW Women's Championship. I thought the match was okay. I mean, nothing spectacular happened, but I think we're finally seeing the split of Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, which I'm very excited for. And the crowd, once again, kind of attaching to someone that maybe most people wouldn't have expected, a very pro Jamie Hayter crowd led by yours truly.
Yeah, I thought Toni Storm would draw up one of the stronger reactions because of like her recent push and how things were going. I didn't expect Jamie Hayter to get so much love, but I'm starting to understand why.
Yeah, Vogus, we did bring up the slot machines at the beginning. It definitely helped with the night. But yeah, I think I said this also to the guys, and maybe it's just me being a hater, not a Jamie hater, but an actual hater. I think Toni Storm's theme is ass. And I think you need a good theme song to get the crowd engaged in what you're presenting on TV. And to me, I think it's not connecting there. That's just me nitpicking, though. You agree?
I kind of dig it, but it's not what do you want the crowd to do with it? You know what I mean? Like when I'm at home, I'm like, so I would like, I'm a Street Profits type of guy. So Bianca Belair,
vibe too.
Jericho, yeah.
We want to get into it, right? We want to feel it. And
yeah, they're putting a lot more words in songs, but nobody can sing that. The singer is incredible. So I'm with you, but I love that you called it ass.
Yeah, it is ass. You had Toni Storm in your predictions, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That was looking at the splits for that one.
Yeah,
everybody.
Did anybody go Jamie?
Storm. Nobody went Jamie. Nobody went Britt Baker. 2 people picked Hikaru Shida.
Oh, okay. That's surprising. Ian and Vogus had a great time seeing Shida compete live in person. They were saying nothing about. Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I didn't know Baki was doing the AEW picks. I knew he did the WWE ones, but not AEW.
He did both, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. He had an okay day. He was no, he was under 500. He was 5 and 6.
That's not an okay day. That's a bad day in the office.
He had an okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a good day either, so I'm not in any room to talk right there. And as Ian said, Sheeta is bad. He made that very clear while he was drinking his many beverages at All Out. So let's move on here to, I wouldn't really call it a match, but we got to see Christian come out, and then Luchasaurus interrupted Jungle Boy's entrance, choke slammed him onto the crate, and then Christian wins the match in a minute or so. I actually like this, Tuck. What about you?
Dude, you got 15 matches on the card. This little feud, this can wait then. Okay, I'm with it. Cool. You extended a storyline. Christian didn't die. Okay, go. Yep. And I think you're frozen again. Yeah, there you go. You're
I'm back. Yeah.
You were frozen like this.
I don't know what is happening here. I might have to get a different cable or something.
Yeah. Or just
What'd you
move
say?
here. We've got extra bedroom.
I'm good here.
Oh, wow. Oh, whoa. Well, you might stay. You're coming in October. Once you see it, you'll like it.
That's true. I will be there in a little over a month.
Bogus.
I'm not going to read that out. I'm just going to show it. Christian's triceps allegedly torn. Yeah, I saw that.
Wow. Tricep gate here. CM Punk, Christian, AEW got a problem. Big problem.
Yeah, but I mentioned it on the last podcast we did. I wasn't really sold on the Luchasaurus thing. Obviously, for good reasoning. He's still with Christian. He still had the same theme song and like the dark gear when he was like being friendly with Jungle Boy again. So it was
weird. They don't know what they're doing with it. Yeah.
Well, maybe just commit to it now. Commit to
go.
Christian. I might, Ian, even though your hotspot, we struggled. So that's what we had to do when we got to the hotel to watch Clash. Ian had to set up the hotspot on his phone, and then I had to connect it to my smart TV that I ended up bringing. Because the hotel Wi-Fi was just not good.
You brought a smart TV?
Oh, yeah. We played Fall Guys. I played like 3 games of Madden this weekend. It was great.
The new one? New Madden?
Yeah, I got the new Madden. I'm 10-1, by the way. No, 11-1. 11-1.
Oh, shit.
And I play on all Madden. I ain't no pussy. I'm playing on the hardest level.
Wow. Well, I've been golfing with Ian on VR. Highly recommend.
Ian's trying to get me to buy a VR. I don't think I play enough video games for it. I don't.
It's fun, dude. It's way different, dude.
Oh, I played it and I struggled.
Room. Oh yeah, it's hard. It's great.
It's
seeing him talk, and it's just fun. I'll see you there. See you on the course.
It is fun, but I got to get a PlayStation 5 first. That's the next move because we got college football coming out next year. The new AEW games coming out later this year, which the FTR is still not on the roster.
They're going to be DLC though.
Yeah, probably. Good call. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's confirmed?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So we got a few more matches. I just want to kind of talk about the last two here. Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. I don't want to say this match was bad because it wasn't, but I think it even came across on the screen too, Tuck. I just didn't care. I don't know why, because these are two once-in-a-generation type talents.
There was no build, right? Like, Jericho is really good at making you care a lot about the matches that he's about to have. And he didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough time for this one. But we do have to shout out Ryan Vogus. He is the only one to pick Jericho. Everybody else picked Bryan Danielson. So that was a big one for him.
What Ian's saying is what I was going to bring up too. The lack of Daniel Garcia in this match was very weird because we kind of assumed on our predictions that he was going to be involved in the finish. He just stayed backstage, right? Because I didn't see it, but they showed him watching the match, didn't they?
Yeah, and that became a critical piece later. Did they show the Jericho Daniel Garcia stuff? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that prolonged that storyline, which I mean, if we're getting more Daniel Garcia, like cool. He's frozen.
One of those guys you definitely got to keep an eye on. As it looks like my Wi-Fi went out again.
Well, I can hear you though. You're just making an inquisitive face. Okay, you're unfrozen.
Okay, there we go. I was actually still talking. I was good.
Yeah, you were like frozen, but words were happening. So
the weird thing is, I'm not even touching it now. So now I really got to start investigating on what's actually happening.
Yeah, we are very insecure about this Ethernet cable right now.
Well, hey, I want a good quality podcast. I don't want me cutting in and out. You know.
You also made a Tony Khan type face right there. Love it.
Vogus said the 14th match on the card and it had no story, just a tough spot. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. And the longest one, right? Wasn't there a report that it was the longest match on the card?
I think it was, yeah.
Which interesting choice, and he gets the low blow that led to the win.
Starks and Hobbs had more time and did not use it. Jade Cargill
Really?
and Athena were booked for more time, and they went light as well. That was a Fightful note during the show.
The Jade and Athena thing doesn't surprise me, just because I think Jade's still not ready to work a longer match, just with her style. But Starks and Hobbs, you think if they had more time, why not use it? Especially get more offense in. Starks got nothing in.
I know.
Just weird. Yeah, definitely. So let's get to the main event and what happened after that, because that's another thing that's got a lot of people talking. So CM Punk defeated Jon Moxley, as everybody knows by now. And surprisingly, Tuck, the one to bleed in this match was CM Punk and not Jon Moxley. So if you had a bet on Moxley bleeding, you were wrong.
Wow. And that's a bet I would have put a hefty amount on, because, right, Moxley. When I go in as Moxley for Halloween, I will not be bloody. So
that's confirmed. You're Moxley? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe I just forgot and you said it another time.
Yeah, I get a new Jon Moxley shirt because I have to, because it's Halloween, so I can't wear the one that I already have.
Correct.
Denim vest, jacket thing, maybe some rugged jeans and some boots. So I get a whole outfit. Cool. I'm gonna be tough. Here's another guy I thought of for Vogus, Owen Hart. He's kind of thick, and Vogus in a singlet. I'm here for it.
Vogus used to kind of have the Owen hair too going on there that he could just slick back, but he's a short hair guy now. Ian
Owen
said
Hart never had a short hair, Ray?
What was that?
Owen Hart never went short hair.
I'm not sure. I don't know much about Owen Hart. Kind of before my time. Yeah. Ian said, it makes sense for it to be the longest because they built it up to be a very technical match. Yeah, but I would have maybe guessed if you were to say, what's the longest match? Trios or the main event that they would at least schedule for. So it ended up being that one. But the crowd was obviously behind CM Punk, but there were a fair amount of Moxley chants. How did that come off on screen too? Because I didn't get to.
To me, it came off vocal, right? And it felt like CM Punk was aware, that maybe it itched at him a little bit. So I thought I could hear it. The announcers acknowledged it as well, that Moxley was drawing favor from the crowd as well. And it was interesting to me. I thought it was going to be all CM Punk, but
do you think kind of the rumors that were going on with, CM Punk backstage kind of attributed to that a little bit, or you think just people respect Moxley that much?
Well, I don't know. I think
could be a mixture of both.
And there have been reasons for people that were on the fence or would cheer the CM Punk that they might say no, but I didn't realize all of them were going to be in that. A lot of them were going to be in that building at the same time, giving Moxley the love that I didn't predict. And you're frozen again. Wow, this is tragic.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm back. Literally every time I try to type, it must be just the way it's angled or something. I'll figure it out by next episode. Don't worry, people. This is what happens when you do a show on a Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
But the match itself, I thought it was good. I don't think it was great, but it was good. It went outside of the ring for a good chunk of it, and the story seemed to be kind of Moxley targeting that injured foot, which is what I think most people expected. But in a way, with the injury and everything going on, it seemed like CM Punk was the underdog in this one, but he goes over in the finish in his hometown. It feels like the right move. It felt like the right decision to just give it to CM Punk again.
Yeah, because you didn't know what was going to happen less than an hour later at the media scrum. So
that's also
is any of this a thing is any of this a thing if Moxley wins? That media scrum stuff, is any of that a thing? If Moxley would have won the title, I don't know.
This is depressing. Am I back now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I froze once again. Just ignore it, people. It's not happening.
Well, my comment, how much different would that media scrum have been if Moxley would have won the title? Yeah.
Are we even talking about this stuff? Or is there even an altercation between those people?
That's what I'm saying. Did Moxley go on for the presser?
I don't think so. I didn't watch all the presser, but I don't believe so.
I didn't see a thing about him if he was.
Oh, well, there you go. Bogus said only the winners talked at the media scrum.
You know, like, but it could be a good thing. You rip the Band-Aid off now. They got to figure it out, you know? So
they do have something figured out, and it's what's going to be their next world title feud, because after CM Punk won that match, the lights went out. We hear of the voicemail allegedly from Tony Khan to MJF, and the crowd knew exactly. That. Yeah, it was a nice little touch. I agree. But they knew exactly who was there. The devil himself is back in AEW. MJF, who turned out to be the Joker, returns and it confronts CM Punk. So obviously that is where we are headed next. They had their feud in the past couple months. He kind of went radio silent for a little bit. And now MJF kind of gives me, even though he flicked off the crowd, face vibes. I'm getting face vibes.
Yeah, well, he's the, what is it, like the anti-authority kind of guy now, like coming back and kind of holding Tony Khan by the balls. It doesn't it feel good, especially after playing that voicemail? Wouldn't it feel good to get one over on your boss? How many people think about that sometimes? You know, like that's the Stone Cold Steve Austin type thing, right? They resonated with him because he was sticking it to the man. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what direction they go with MJF, because he is going to get a little bit more of a positive reaction, I believe, in every crowd he goes into. And I know personally me, when it comes down to it, if MJF and Punk are fighting at the next pay-per-view, I want MJF to win.
Well, now you would have went in thinking you could work Punk face and MJF heel, and you'd have a compelling story. There you go. And then you come out of it. Now it's like, well, where CM Punk's at in the public's eye, and the way they're working with that, like MJF might be the guy to put him out of the company, you know, or something like that.
Definitely. And I think if there could change one thing about this MJF return, because I think everything was done perfectly. I like the Joker aspect of things. I would have maybe had him cash it in that night. Just get a little weird, kind of do what Money in the Bank was meant to do and just shock the world and have him, you know, take that opportunity in Chicago and defeat CM Punk to end All Out. Because, I mean, it was a great moment. Don't get me wrong. Because the last 2 years of All Out, we've had some great returns to end the show. I think to take it to that next level, MJF winning would have been a better decision.
Well, that media scrum looks a lot different with him at the table.
Yeah, and like Bogus asked,
ramification too.
Is that a media scrum kind of a double turn then?
If they want to make money, if they like making money and selling things and having people want to watch their shit, that's not a bad idea.
I mean, at this point, you got to lean into it, right? Like, you can't hide from this. Everybody's talking about it.
No, that would be very WWE vibes, wouldn't it? Like,
yeah, it's like when COVID was happening and they didn't even acknowledge COVID.
Not a thing. Like, COVID doesn't exist in the WWE universe.
Reigns was out for a couple weeks. They didn't say why.
He's not here tonight.
That's such a Vince thing.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But overall, I gave this show a 7.5 when I sent out my tweet after All Out. Maybe that's just because I was there live, because sometimes it's more enjoyable when you're there in person. But what if you were to give it a rating, where do you sit on this pay-per-view as a whole? Because I think it was one of their worst ones. Not saying it was bad, but one of their worst ones they've had.
I had it at an 8. I really liked the trios match. I really liked the I thought there was some good matches. It was exhausting. It was a long day, 15 matches. Woo, you know, but weekend. I thought there were enough good matches that it was a solid card, but it didn't blow up or pop off. You know, I
like last year's All Out.
Oh yeah. I would have graded. I think I'm grading Clash of the Castle higher. So,
which we will grade and talk about this Thursday. We still are going to be doing our usual Thursday show. That, of course, will be episode 112, which this might be a first time we've ever done 2 podcasts in 1 week. But when there's this much wrestling going on,
you got to strike when the iron's hot. You know, or this is the biz. It's just part of the biz, Kyle.
Because I guarantee you by Thursday we'll have more news about this whole AEW shit going on. especially with Dynamite tomorrow. So
I'm sure we will have comments. Oh yeah.
At least we know Dynamite is going to be a very interesting one tomorrow night. But I think that's all we got for them this episode. It is that time. I debated on doing the MVM this week, but we did have a lot of interaction once again, even though we popped off on a Tuesday night. So we're going to keep this thing in the family, though. His father won this last week after, this winner this week gave the title to him. But he's going to be regaining the strap this week for episode 111. And new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, Ryan Vogus, also the AEW champion.
Well, I mean, it's going to be kind of old school Monday Night Invasion vibes on Thursday. The OTM AEW champ rolls in double strapped, just like Roman. He's got the MVM, he's got the AEW championship, and he's going to be there. If you want to smoke, get in the comment section and let's roll.
Ryan Matthews says All Out was nuts. It was good. You missed a lot of what we were talking about, Ryan, so go back and listen to it, as I just saw a creepy crawly go across my floor. Scared the shit out of me, so I'm going to have to kill that tuck. But yeah, any final remarks as we sign off here for a Tuesday episode of OTM?
No, what a great weekend to be a wrestling fan. We'll keep talking about it on Thursday. The AEW stuff is intriguing, and we'll see AEW's true goal in the next couple of weeks here. Is their goal to grow and make money, or is their goal to let some egos get in the way? And we'll see. So I think that answer comes over the course of time here. So it makes it a little interesting for me to watch. So,
but it won't come Tuesday. That's for sure.
No, our next episode will come Thursday.
That's true.
That's all right, Ryan. Make sure you visit the On the Mark Wrestling podcast.com. Get all your merch. No codes right now, but it's still affordably priced. A lot of good stuff on there. Kyle, you got some compliments on your Bryan Danielson appreciation shirt over the weekend. Love to hear that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see people acknowledging my shirt that we made. Of course, I was first thing in the morning walking by this guy, so I didn't respond with oh yeah, you can get it on the Mark Wrestling Podcast right.com. I wasn't fully awake yet, so it didn't click. I go, thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Hey, brother.
Oh, I had a couple drinks too the night before, so it was a little difficult. Yeah. But all right, Tuck, why don't you send us home, bud?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.